For those of you watching on the WWE Network, and we assume most of you are, if you're watching in another bootleg fashion, congratulations. But on the WWE Network, you're going to go to WWE Pay-Per-View, the tab at the top, and look for SummerSlam 93. At this point, you'll see at the bottom an option to jump to. The third tab is jump to Heavenly Bodies versus Steiner Brothers, which begins at exactly 13 minutes into the WWE Network's video of SummerSlam. 13 minutes, Heavenly Bodies versus Steiner Brothers. Jim, are you ready?
I am ready. Now, how are we going to do this? Is it 3, 2, 1, play?
I'm going to do my countdown, and Donnie can go to hell.
All right.
Do you have your volume muted?
I do.
Okay, with that said.
But boy, if anybody wants to go back and listen to this with the announcing, Vince is particularly on the Yoko and Luger match. He is selling Lex Luger like a fucking auctioneer, trying to will people to love him. So you need to hear the commentary too. But for the purposes of this exercise, we're muting it.
And I guess we should mention, because obviously the two matches aren't back-to-back, we will take a short break in between the two matches here. But Steiner Brothers versus Heavenly Bodies, 13 minutes into SummerSlam 93. Here's our countdown. This one's for you, Donnie. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press play now.
And there I am. Look at all the hair I used to have. And there's Todd Pettingzoo with the Steiners, his sister and mother that I cut off. I wish I still had that suit. It got completely bloody in Smoky Mountain one night, and I had to throw the fucking whole thing away. Anyway, that, by the way, Tom Pritchard is right thigh wrapped up. Jimmy Del Rey is wearing Stan Lane's robe. We had, when Stan quit, we had the S taken off and a J put on. And then he immediately assumed the mantle of, yeah, we're messing with the Steiner family or the Rick Steiner family.
One of the sleaziest looking wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, Jimmy. And he didn't even have his front tooth fixed yet. So that was fucking great. Tom with the introduction that Stan Lane used to do. The referee for this match is the Bizarro World Earth 2 Danny Davis, the WWF Danny Davis, not the actual Danny Davis, Nightmare Danny Davis of OVW and wrestling fame.
Now, Danny Davis had previously been suspended for life plus 10 years, yet somehow they made him a referee again around 1989.
Well, they had to find something to do for poor old Danny Davis. I'm messing with Heenan there. Look at Finkel, and he was so svelte. That's a big-ass building, the Palace of Auburn Hills. It was very impressive. And now the Steiner Brothers music, this is not dubbed in network music that you hear when they come. This is what they were playing. The Steiner in WCW, they had Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. Here it's like some goddamn high school marching band fight song. It was so cheesy and WWF-y and clean and everything. I think when they came in October of this year, when they came down to have the rematches in Smoky Mountain, I think we played Welcome to the Jungle. Just because we could, and why the fuck not? But Rick and Scott, what a fucking team! What two athletes? Those you will see in this match. For Rick to be 260 at that time, and Scott to be pretty close, or 250 or whatever, they could move like crazy. So here we jump them, jump start, Scotty to the floor, feed on the fucking most popular babyface. Remember, at the time, people loved Rick, the dog-faced gremlin. Scott was the tag-along brother. Rick was a little anxious to go up for that suplex. It went too quick. But there was no problem with these guys, the WWF Tag Team Champions, working with the team from Tennessee, Flapjack. And the commentators, Heenan and fucking Vince, both went, ooh, like it was a fuck-up. They'd never seen the Flapjack before. Nobody had ever done it up there. And we're, Danny Davis wandering around, waving his arms. We get enough heat on Rick, and here comes Scotty, and now the tempo's picking up. Ass in the face spot coming up. Doc's head right below the second turnbuckle, ass in the face, monkey flip out, boom. There's variations of this. Sometimes the guy goes in the other corner. You can beel the guy out, or you can ass bump him into a fucking double knockout, whatever. Here, Doc ducks the clothesline, Rick delivers, and Scott belly-to-belly overhead throw. And then here we go. Let's get Jimmy out of there as well. I think, is this the turnaround sidewalk slam? Yeah, look how strong Scott is. Jimmy had nothing to do with that. Scott just fucking took him. And now we roll out. Now the people are hooked in this fucking match. Now they're like, okay, we don't care whether we know these guys or not. We know Cornette, and fuck it. This thing looks like it's going to be a fucking contest. That's how we needed to get them up and get their attention. So anyway, now a little fucking meeting of the minds there, little strategy session. And that's another thing. Nobody slows a goddamn match down anymore. After you blow off the payoff of the spot, they just keep going the same fucking speed. They don't slow it down so you can let the people catch up. Look at this press slam. Look at that fucking strength. Doc had nothing to do with it. As a matter of fact, Doc went up so easy that fucking Scotty almost lost him. And there Jimmy with the big backdrop. As I was saying, you know, the Steiners were they were a hard babyface team to get sympathy on because they're barking now for Rick is what I'm selling there, because they're so big and so strong. So you had to cut them off. You had to double team one. You had to cheat. You had to go from behind. Then you could get some heat. And then also like the Road Warriors, then they would sell. Is it right now? We're making it look like all hope is lost. And that's another thing. The Steiners knew. Jimmy didn't really know where that was coming from. The Steiners knew from working with the Midnight. If you give one of the guys a move and the other one feeds in, give him the same thing. That was a standard Midnight thing where that way you could keep the fucking baby faces moving, but you didn't have to call too much. They could easily figure it out. I'm asking the cameraman if he wants me to have an aneurysm. That was a rhetorical question. Get out of here. We're trying to do some private business. Okay, I'm going to break you in half now, right? Dr. Tom's all pissed off. And immediately says, here we go. Get Scotty in here. Just a little begging off, a little showing that you're not fucking anxious to fight this guy face-to-face one-on-one. And I think that Tom was trying to remind Scotty, there we go, ass man here because we're going into the heat spot. So Tom was reminding Scotty while he had him in that front face lock. Now remember, who's legal and who's not? Boom, Jimmy just came in. So the fucking bulldog from behind, Tom was always the legal guy. Scott took his eye off the fucking proper opponent. And there he caught the foot, but it wasn't phony because Doc was still holding on to his hair and he fed him. He suckered him the foot and then kicked him. It's not like these guys just now, they just hold the fucking foot for no reason, help their opponent out. Jimmy with a fucking cannonball on the outside. If you're going to get the heat on Scott, because he's the stoutest one, even though Rick's the most popular, so we wanted to give him the comeback, and he had the fire at that point. You got to stay on top of Scott, and you got to double team a lot. You got to double on the tags. Jimmy trying to get used to ropes. Those are real ropes. Not only, as you'll see when Yoko takes bumps in this ring later on, not only was that ring harder than Chinese arithmetic, but this is the first time that any of us had ever worked with real ropes on a ring, and they're so fucking loose. They were just crazy. Anyway, Jimmy had buzzed Scotty there. Remember, float over DDT. He was the only one doing that. At the time, what did Raven started? A year or two later?
Yeah.
So nobody had seen a lot of this stuff. Now Jimmy buzzes Scotty again. Here's what we're doing. Drop toe hold knee. No reason to get jumpy. If you've got two good heels that know what they're doing, they can guide you along. So if you just listen to the voice in your head, you're not going to get hurt. You're always going to know what's going on. Now they want to fucking give Scotty I thought he was giving him a chance to fucking catch his breath, but he's going to pull him up again because I think we're getting the time cue from the referee. And we're like, we better hurry up. Nice punches, by the way. And somebody sells them until it's time to hook his and give him one back. But then drop toe hold, tag out to the nice heel teamwork, cut the ring off.
You know, we talk about this being Jimmy Del Rey's big break. Tom Pritchard, too. Big star in the territories and the dying territories. Boom. First time on national TV on a pay-per-view event, though.
That's true. And, you know, we just take for granted everybody knew Doc because his work was so good and he'd been a top guy. But still in the WWF, they didn't know who anybody was in some cases. By the way, I'm sure that super kick pissed Michaels off especially because it was better than his usual super kicks, but Jimmy's doing all of his greatest hits here. Okay, now I think we have to have a quick tag in and out because we're about ready to go home. Nice back scratch. Oh, no, wait a minute. I got to take one poke first. Boom in the throat, and there you go. That's all it takes. And be innocent and run away from Rick Steiner. And while the referee's distracted, then the heels can switch with no tag. And boom, and the referee could have turned around a lot quicker than that, but he wasn't used to heels that know how to work behind his back. Yes, we tagged. But see, we'll do it again. Just so you... Okay, and I think we're about getting ready to go home here. There's going to be, because they're switching back again. And we're going to set up one move for Jimmy to take and one move for Doc to take. And Jimmy buzzes Scotty there. Remember, reversal. This time, suplex me. See, the second time the heel tries the move on the baby face is smarter, so it doesn't work. And now there's an opportunity for Scott to get the tag unless Jimmy can fucking block him off and make the tag to goddamn Doc, which he does. And Doc jumps in and cuts it off. And now the hot tag here is the only problem I had. Scott, when he does this, when he stops and boom, drops Jimmy, sees facing the referee. Scotty should have crawled to the corner that the referee was in front of, the neutral corner, so that when Jimmy tagged in, he could rush at him and Scotty could fucking dive away, but instead he went straight to his corner, so it was a medium tag at best, not really a hot tag. Look at Jimmy hit Tim Ropes, took that clothesline, boom. Doc saw the one Jimmy took and decided to lean back a little on his. Beautiful comeback by Rick. Everything in the right place. Scotty probably shouldn't try that second drop kick. He barely caught him. I think Scotty's blowed up. I mean, look at the body weight he's carrying at this pace. Look at Rick's balance. Got it back himself and a safe bulldog. Let's make one save. Boom. We ain't job guys. But now, the dreaded fucking facial massage in the corner is a chance to dump Scott out before he throws any more of those shitty punches.
Ooh.
The referee is with Doc. I throw the racket. Now the referee's counting Scott. Boom. The people have seen enough TV to know, even if we don't know who these guys are, this is a fuck. 1, 2, and it gets a pop because they bought it. They didn't use gimmicks a lot up there unless it was going to lead to the fucking finish in those days. So we threw that one in because we want to get the people hooked. Now here's our chance. Our finish back then, Doc holds the guy. Jimmy does the standing moonsault, but Scotty pulls Rick out of the way. Jimmy hits his own partner. Boom. Rick is going to fucking, or Rick and Scott are now, Scott's going to dispense with Jimmy as Tom is laying there and a double cover. They forgot which one was legal, but it didn't matter because we fucking got by with it. And the people liked it.
Look at that reaction.
Look at that fucking crowd.
Yeah.
We had made our first TV taping 4 weeks before this, and the Bodies, I think, had 2 television matches. And we cut some promos and dusted the Steiners up on television. But we took the people on the ride to where they thought it was just going to be a bullshit match, and then they weren't sure, and then they thought, they actually might beat these fucking guys, and then the Steiners go over. That's what you're supposed to do.
How impressive was that Frankensteiner when he first started doing that?
Oh, we couldn't believe it. We thought it was a fuck up. We thought he missed a drop kick and fucking, and modified in midair, but no, he meant to do that. And off goes the triumphant hometown heroes. And oh my God, please hit pause. It's fucking, what was his name? Joe Francis? No, that was the Girls Gone Wild guy. Joe Perkins? No, that was the syndication guy, maybe.
It was Joe
Steve
something.
Joe, whatever, the most high-pitched, he sounded like Kenny Olivier. Whiny, high-pitched voice. He was some kind of sports broadcaster and lasted about 3 weeks, I think, up there. Anyway, that's the Steiners and the Bodies. Any questions before we move on?
No, great match. Always really liked that match. It's nice seeing a crowd react like that to a match. You don't see that too often. But you got to see a lot of the greatest hits of the Steiner brothers. Rick's Bulldog off the top rope, Frankensteiner, Steiner line, and the Bodies were perfect with him. It was really good. I wish there were more of those matches from 93 in Smoky Mountain. I wish those were professionally shot too, the rematches.
Oh, God. Well, and especially with Arn. Can you imagine what that crowd would have done if we'd have had that fucking pit bull in their corner instead of their sister and mother? Because in Smoky Mountain, we went 20 minutes every night instead of 10, and they did more of their shit. We got more heat, but the fucking dog made the thing. Scotty just brought Arnold up in the car because they drove up from Atlanta. And I knew from the WCW locker rooms that Arnold could work because he would torment Bobby Eaton. Because Bobby was scared of big dogs, and fucking Scott would have the thing on a leash, but he'd take Arnold and chase Bobby around the locker room, the arena. He'd catch him in the bathroom stall, and Bobby'd be standing up on the toilet with his foot out, and Arnold would put Bobby's boot all the way in his fucking mouth, and he would work and bite. He wasn't hurting the leather, but he was stiff on it enough that you could know it was in a dog's mouth. And so I said, fuck, Arnold can work. Take him out and let him be your manager. That's half our fucking match. And it tore the house down. Every time they'd get that dog to chase us, holy shit. And then they'd tie him to the ring post, and then he learned how to jump up under the bottom rope, and while he was still tied to the ring post, he could get with the leash about 6 or 8 feet into the fucking ring. So then 5 minutes of the match became the Steiners trying to drag the bodies into the part of the ring that Arnold could get into where he could bite their ass. It was fucking classic. It was fucking great.
The commentator's name, by the way, Joe Fowler.
Joe Fowler, that's right. He was a foul commentator.
You know, I'm looking at this card here. There's another person one of the people that stole the show, Lawler, Jimmy Del Rey, Bret Hart was good. Forgot about Bruce Hart, probably much to the annoyance of Bret Hart. But Bruce Hart at ringside when he gets the bucket of water poured on him.
Yeah. And
then he's great. He was great at ringside for that match.
Well, Doink did the old Harlem Globetrotters thing with the bucket of confetti, but it was actually water. He turned a bucket of water over his head. Well, let's talk about the card. The whole card for this thing, real quick. The dark match, Owen Hart pinned Barry Horowitz. That was the dark match. That shows you how times change. Razor Ramon beat Ted DiBiase. The Steiners beat the Bodies. Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels with Diesel defeated Mr. Perfect by countout. Bret Hart, as we mentioned, beat Doink and then lost to Jerry Lawler via reverse decision. Ludwig Borga beat Marty Jannetty. I guess Clem from the bowling alley wasn't available. The Undertaker beat Giant Gonzalez. Oh, good God, Lord have mercy. Was that a fucking rotten fucking thing? Because it was Giant Gonzalez. Thank God they got Undertaker into some series with decent opponents, starting with Yokozuna. Tatanka and the Smoking Guns beat Bam Bam Bigelow and the Head Shrinkers with Luna and Afa. And then the celebrated Lex Luger Yokozuna match. Should we start this? These introductions are going to take a while. The entrances. There's no fast walking in the WWF on the top matches back in those days.